In the late 20th century, a brutal conflict erupted in the Middle East, a war that spanned nearly a decade from the 18th of September 1980 to the 20th of August 1988. This was the Iran-Iraq War, a conflict that saw the two nations locked in a deadly stalemate, with borders drawn and redrawn and millions of lives hanging in the balance. As the conflict unfolded, both sides began to employ a strategy as old as warfare itself, the digging of trenches. These weren't the simple ditches of the past, but complex, extensive systems that stretched across the border between Iran and Iraq. These trenches served as both a defensive bulwark against enemy advances and a springboard for launching offensives. The first trenches of this war were hastily dug in the early stages of the conflict, as each side tried to establish a foothold along the disputed border. These early trenches were rudimentary, designed to provide cover for troops and to disrupt enemy movements. But as the war dragged on, they evolved into something much more sophisticated. By the mid-80s, the trenches of the Iran-Iraq War had become vast networks of tunnels and bunkers, complete with command posts, ammunition stores, and even living quarters for the soldiers. In some ways, they resembled the elaborate trench systems of the First World War, with one key difference. These trenches were not static lines of defense, but dynamic battlefield elements that could shift and adapt to the changing tide of war. As the war escalated, the trenches became the focal point of some of the conflict's most intense battles. Both Iranian and Iraqi forces launched massive offensives from their trench lines, trying to break through the enemy's defenses and gain the upper hand. But just as often, these offensives were repelled, with the defenders using their trenches to absorb the enemy's assault and launch counterattacks. In the end, the trenches of the Iran-Iraq War served as a stark reminder of the brutal and often static nature of modern warfare. Despite the advances in technology and tactics, the trenches remained a key component of the battlefield, a testament to their enduring strategic value. To summarize, the trenches of the Iran-Iraq War, while initially rudimentary, evolved into complex and extensive systems used for both defense and offense. They became the focal point of many battles and a symbol of the static nature of the conflict. Despite the evolution of warfare, the strategic value of trench warfare endures, as demonstrated by its extensive use during the Iran-Iraq War.